You are listening to the Mark Guzman Podcast Experience. Eddie Santos and Italina Kirknis join me on this week's episode of Real Realtors. Eddie has been in the real estate business for 23 years and currently works with Genesis Real Estate in Richmond, California. Italina is an online presence expert specializing in working with realtors and brokerages. Eddie and Italina join me today to discuss how to work with home buyers, generating real estate leads, and the top 3 myths of real estate. So this is the 4th episode of Real Realtors. Okay. We are live now, and I want to thank my guests for coming on. We have Italina Kirknis again, the online presence expert. And if you guys have not heard her podcast, the one-on-one episode, make sure to go to my website, iTunes, Google Play, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out her episode. Lots of good info. And then we also have Eddie Santos with Genesis Real Estate here with us. And Eddie, how long have you been in the real estate business?
About 23 years.
23 years. Yeah. Long time. 23 years. A lot of experience.
Yes, definitely.
So on today's episode, I want to focus on, we're going to talk a little bit about some current topics. We're going to talk about buyers, lead generating, and we're also going to talk about certain myths that I still hear coming up on real estate. Okay, so we're going to just jump right into it. And, well, actually, let's hold off on that first. Eddie.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about your background. You said you've been in business for 23 years.
Yes.
How did you get into the real estate business?
Sure.
And how did you end up with the current company?
Well, back in the day, in the mid 90s, I was computer operator for back in the day, believe it or not, microfiche. If you remember those little film things with data. And I actually started part-time. I was interested back in the day with Tony Robbins seminars back in the day. And then I went to one of those, really motivated to do something different in my life. I wasn't making really good money. And I found out about real estate. I was really intrigued with it. And I started part-time, Mason McDuffie, a big company back in the day in the Bay Area. And then I just had that goal of walking away from my job and going full-time, man. I just said, hey, I want to make more money. I didn't finish college yet at that time. It was just high school. But I wanted to get into real estate. I saw the potential to make unlimited, money at that time.
So did you get in at 18?
I was, how old was I? You meant my age, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I'm 52 now, so going back, I forgot age I was. I think I was early 20s, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was just motivated, man. As I said, when I had 5 extras going, I gave my 2-week notice, and that was it. I never turned back.
Yeah.
Are we giving our ages on this show?
Yeah, I have to say that.
You don't have to.
I'm not embarrassed to say it. It's okay. You don't have to.
Okay, and then Italina, we know your background from the podcast, and if someone's listening to this and they don't know your background, they need to go to that other episode and listen to it now, then come back to this. So let's just jump right into lead generating. Now, Eddie, we'll go to you first.
Sure.
How do you currently generate buyer leads?
A lot of different ways. I'm kind of grandfathered in with a lot of the lead companies. I don't know if you ever heard of Agent Machine, Referral Exchange. They're one of the big ones.
Okay.
I know they're charging now, like $700 up front. They want one referral given that goes through before they give you any. But I'm still grandfathered in, so I get them 25, 35%. I've been doing that for over 10 years. I get like 2 or 3 leads a day. And internet leads, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. I usually close about 3 to 5 deals a year from that one source.
So it pays for itself.
Yes, it does, definitely. Oh, I don't pay anything, just like close. 25,
Okay.
35%. So that's just one.
Okay, so they charge a referral fee at the close.
Yes, nothing up front.
Okay. So it's very similar to, have you heard of the company HomeLight?
I heard of it, but I've never dealt with that.
I signed up, they're out of San Francisco, and I signed up with them years ago. And every now and then I get leads from them, but I've never closed a single one. Every single lead is just, they're not good leads. But they do the same thing. They charge 35%.
Right, but sometimes even the Agent Machine, Referral Exchange, now they call it, if I get a listing lead, it might be 2 other realtors. It might be in competition. You'll never know. But they do tell you they do that too. So sometimes you're lucky there's no competition. Sometimes there is. So it's not guaranteed, but I have a pretty good success rate with the seller leads so far. But I really like it, though, because you just pay at the end of escrow. Yeah, which is cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that the only type of lead gen you're doing?
No, I do other stuff too. I also get some from. I guess a VA expert. I've been doing that for years too. Veterans United. I don't think they take new agents now. I'm not sure. There's some agents I know that do it, but I probably close between 4 to 6 deals a year from them alone. I love working with VA. The challenge is you need a clear termite. That's the challenge in this market.
Yeah.
But I still like the challenge. And other stuff is I do a lot of MailChimp, mass email integration with Facebook ads, stuff like that. And I have a pretty large database. I do that, and I do a lot of well, MailChimp is good because you can track all the people are looking at your new listings, whatever it is you're sending out. I can track everything, and I can call people and say, hey, I noticed you logged in 5-6 times on that latest email. Say, hey, you really think of buying? He goes, yes, I am. And some people call me too. They go, hey, I got that thing from you. I say, what thing? This email like 3 days ago. Oh yeah, okay, God, you want to buy? I say, cool.
I'm curious. You said you have a large database.
But well, to me, it's 600.
That's
Sphere
awesome.
of influence.
And I
Sphere of
think that's
influence.
so
good.
important to say
Yes.
that because people hear that and they assume, oh, I have to have
Not
thousands, and
no
it's
way.
not true. So I'm
No,
so
it's too
glad
many.
you said that.
Too many handle that.
Yeah. Well, it's same thing with video views, Facebook followers. Like so many people get caught up in, oh, well, I only have 100 or 200 followers. Well, that's good enough.
Right.
Like you can, if you tap into these 100 to 200 people, there's a
Right.
lot of business you can generate.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we're not trying to be the next Facebook real estate agent with 1 million followers, right?
No.
Yeah, we're all small businesses. Okay, so Italina,
Yes.
how can a real estate agent generate buyer leads?
Awesome. So I'm big on tapping into the lower hanging fruit, the people who are already within or just outside of your network. So yeah, of course, internet leads, it's great to get them. And honestly, today I see getting a service inquiry, someone inquiring into your service on LinkedIn, direct messaging you on Instagram or on Facebook. I see that as an online lead. I love it because it is, like I said, the lower hanging fruit. They're friends or referral, right? Referrals don't just happen face to face anymore.
Right.
Referrals happen online as well. Right. Compared to, like, let's say I get a total stranger from Yelp. They don't know me from Adam, and they're being all skeptical, and there's just this different attitude. And I know people who are listening know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Compared to when I'm referred by someone, or they see that we have friends in common. Like, so I'm big on those.
Okay.
The mutual connections. Yeah.
Okay. Now, working with buyers is pretty unique. Eddie, you and I were talking here a few minutes before, and when I started in real estate, like most agents do, you jump into working with buyers.
You have to.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to, man.
Yeah. And so what, in your experience, has been very unique in working with buyers as opposed to sellers?
Okay, with buyers, it's kind of like you're holding hands on both sides. I think buyers right now, the number one thing is getting them educated on the process. Like, I'll give you an example. I know VA is not the norm, but on a VA, I'll tell them my experience. Say, hey, look, we can't look for fixers. We need a Section 1 clearance. I educate them on that. If they're doing no money down like most VA, you need 3.5% closing costs. Okay, let's say the house is $100,000. Make it simple. You want to give the seller $100,000, you got to give 103.5. Okay, you need a termite cleared. So that's the challenge we're facing with other conventional cash buyers. So sometimes we have to bump up the price a little bit. So basically what I'm saying is you have to educate them. And they kind of like that. You kind of hold their hand through the whole process. That's the most important thing.
Now, quickly, because there's going to be listeners that are not necessarily in real estate, so we do have to be careful with the real estate jargon. Gotcha. So what's a VA loan?
VA loan is someone that's been in the military before, and depending how many years they've been in, 4 years, 8 years, whatever, how long they've been in there, they have to qualify and get I forgot the name of the form, can't think of it now, to get required to get a VA loan. But there's no mortgage insurance, which is cool. No money down.
They can do 100% financing.
Yeah. That's right. No money down. So that's
now the problem though is what you said earlier is termite clearance.
Yes.
And termite reports, when you get one done, there's two sections: Section 1, Section 2.
Section 1's required, 2's sometimes.
Yeah, and that the reason why is because 2 is potential future damage that could, but it's not active infestation.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
And termite is not just for termites. Those inspections, they're for dry rot, fungus, mold, that sort of thing.
The buyer can't pay for it. The seller has to pay for the report. The buyer can fix stuff now.
Now, there's a rumor that they're going to do away with it.
I haven't heard that.
Okay.
It's California only. It's only California. When I was in Washington, there was no issue. Just California.
Okay.
Termite.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Now, buyer broker agreements, do you use those?
Never.
Never?
I know people do, but I don't.
Italina,
That's
do you have
hard.
clients who use buyer broker agreements?
So I have clients who do and clients who don't. And I've seen people get mad because they go through, do all this work for a buyer and then the
I
buyer end up
understand,
using another realtor. But I tell my clients too the same thing. Like, I don't believe in being married to anyone who no longer wants to be married to me. So I don't force my clients to sign a contract either. It's month to month, and they stay with us for years. So I think if you build that rapport and made that impact on a buyer, and it's shown that you're going to be all out for them, then they're going to want to stick with you.
I totally agree. I do the
agree.
same thing with
Definitely.
management deals. People ask me, well, how long is the contract for? I tell them it's month to month. Like, you literally just give me a 30-day notice.
There you go.
If you're not happy with me, then I'm not trying to keep someone who's upset with me,
You
right?
don't want that.
Exactly.
Good point.
So what's a unique client story that you have? And let's try to keep this positive, because I know I know we have a lot of very interesting negative stories.
I'm still thinking about that one. You one ready?
Italina, do
You
you have
know
one?
what? I wish I would have known it was positive because I had some other ones ready. What's some positive, unique situations? Going along the lines of, sometimes people just aren't ready right now, but it totally doesn't mean that 6 months from now or even 2 years from now that they may be ready, depending on how much of an impact you've made on that individual. Are they going to remember you? Are you top of mind? How well did you do with keeping in contact with them? So for example, once I spoke at a marketing meeting, I remember it was January. It's the beginning of the year. And certain people come up and they want to sign up or want to follow up. And then some people, they never come up or even say thank you. Great talk, So then 6 months later, I recall exactly, a woman calls me. She goes, "Hi, Italina. You don't know me, but I heard you speak at the marketing meeting 6 months ago. I thought I was going to implement the tips you shared. I thought I was going to do it myself, but I haven't done anything in the last 6 months. I want to just go ahead and hire you." Nice. And I just love that because it just showed that it didn't matter that all that time went by. I was still top of mind. It was memorable enough, good enough information, and the client saw the need.
Definitely. Well, I say maybe unique is not the word, but very challenging, I think, is when you probably did this. When you have a listing and they have to buy, the dominoes all fall in place. That's very challenging. And when I do that and everybody's happy, I feel so good because, of course, you're going to get paid. But the thing is, the client's really happy because that's a big challenge.
It is.
You put in a house on the market, let's say in El Brandon, move it out into the boonies, and everything has to fall in place. And the other side has a problem with almost foreclosing. Oh my God, you feel so good when it's done, not just because you're getting paid, but everybody's happy and everything goes perfect.
Yeah.
That's, to me, unique to get that done.
It is.
Yes.
And that's where you shine as a professional,
Yes.
too,
Yes.
when you're really able to coordinate multiple closings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because if you think about it, one transaction, you're really working with a group of 6 or 7
And the
people.
other people on the other end calling you.
Yeah, and now you have 2 transactions. Now you're 14 people. Yeah,
What's going on?
yeah, exactly.
But it's a good experience, though.
So I'm just going to quickly give out a story that I have. And I love this story because just thinking back. So when you're a new agent, you take on almost any client. Right?
That's true.
So I'm a new agent. Guy comes to me and wants to sell his piece of land. So I sell his piece of land. But just a very interesting guy. He claimed he was a Nobel Peace Prize winner. I couldn't verify that, even though I looked it up. But he made his own eye drop solutions that he claimed cured his eye vision. And
Wow.
Guy was a character, but knew land engineer to a T.
Wow.
Like genius
And you
guy.
were new?
And I was brand new, yeah.
Ooh, yeah,
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting transaction. And some of the people that you meet, and I have to say that's probably one of my favorite things about this business is you literally meet people from everywhere.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. All different types.
Yeah. So, one thing I want to talk about are listing agents that as a buyer agent you don't want to deal with. Have you ran across that before? And Italina, maybe I would ask you, have you ever looked into a client and said, "Hey, we need to change your image"?
You say I'm a buyer's agent. There's
You're a
listing.
buyer agent.
I'm going to write an offer, for example.
Let's say, yeah, your
Or
clients like
we're
the
in escrow
property,
already.
but it's a listing agent you just don't want to work with. Like, let's say so and so lists a property, your client likes it, but you see the listing agent, you're like, oh no, not this guy.
I've been there.
I mean, some things I've heard is like basically agents who don't keep in touch. They take forever.
That's what I was
That's the
just gonna
biggest
say.
problem. Yeah.
Communication problem agents. I mean, say anything bad about agents, but the truth is, there's some agents out there, they just, lackadaisical, don't give you paperwork, unresponsive. That worries me. But when it comes down to it, I think overall they get things done. I rarely have bad problems, but there's some agents like that, yes.
So as a buyer agent, what are some tips? What are some things you can do to try to push like your offer in to force that communication?
I do VA, right? So one little thing is I have my buyers write a nice letter. Say, hey, I've been in the military, I just got back from Iraq or whatever, everything, like 3 paragraphs. Nice letter. Because of those letters, I've gotten probably about 2 or 3 escrows more in the past 2 years, because you have a menu of offers. You got a VA, conventional, FHA, but they're all like really close within 2,000. But you got my letter over here, and I get the property for my buyer because they have that feeling.
They're touched.
Yep.
Yes, that works, man. Just
Okay.
that little thing. That's one thing. Yeah.
Okay. Italina?
I was going to actually share the same thing my clients have said. Sharing a letter, even if it's like thank you to the other party, and
That's good.
showing graciousness and showing that we will take care of this home and honor the time you spent. You know what I mean? Something to show, just to give that extra edge above.
Yeah.
Put that heart in it.
true.
Yeah. Now, many people also don't know that through the California Association of Realtors, there's a form that you can complete and you mail directly to the owner, and like the owner of a property stating, we submitted an offer to you.
I didn't know this. You're telling me this.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
go
there are some agents, and we're not going to name names, but
No, they submitted it.
yeah, they just don't present your offer.
Yeah,
Or
sure it
they claim they never received it in the email, or something happened, right? Or
They didn't double end it, right?
what's that?
They
Or
didn't double end it.
Exactly. They double end it, and all of a sudden they had the best offer magically, right? So CAR is trying to combat that, through the ethics and forms. And one thing that they've basically put together is a form that you can send to the owner and just say, hey, we submitted an offer to you.
Did you
It's
get
a
it?
notice. That's it. No, it's not even asking, did you get it? It's a simple form that says, we submitted an offer on your property.
Wow.
Yeah. And their hope is that it's going to make some owners aware,
Keep people in line too.
keep people in line. Yeah. Now, a lot of people don't know about that. So I don't think there's, if agents don't know there's a form there, they're not going to use it.
Right, right.
And then of course, well, do you want to use a form and then maybe get the listing agent upset when they might be able to help you out on another deal? So there's that sort of politics right there.
Well, there's one thing just happened to me recently, and I got a buyer writing offers here and there, and it says, for example, no offers till the 26th or 27th coming up, right? I go, okay, so we got time. I'll let it sit on it for the last second day. Next thing I know, I look at MLS.
It's been
Because the seller had to go on vacation, we're accepting offers now. So does that mean I have to check every single day on that listing? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's just some stuff we're fighting.
Yeah.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, sometimes that is due to a seller.
No, I'm not saying they
Yeah.
did it on purpose. I'm just saying those are the challenges that we're dealing with. We have to keep tabs on that property every day because these guys are changing stuff on MLS.
Yeah.
They're supposed to stick to that date, but that was a seller issue. I understand.
That just gave me an idea that the MLS should have an offer date tab, and you can register
Oh, that's a good
register
idea.
your account with the property for updates. And so if it changes
You
the
get a
offer
That's
date,
true.
you get an automatic update.
You mean like the comments change on the comments remarks? Because you can't see
yeah,
exactly what it changes.
yeah, you could do it on the comments, but I think if
Any updates?
any updates,
Triggers. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm actually going to present that to the
That's a good
association
idea, because I would have I could have went back and said, oh wait a minute, we gotta get it in. Then I could have did it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
buyer wasn't mad, but just disappointed. But anyway. Happens.
Okay, so we're going to switch this over. We're talking about lead gen. We're going to talk about online marketing, which is still lead gen, but personal websites. Are you guys a fan of having, like, a real estate agent having personal website, or really should they just depend on the company's site to bring them business?
So I'm a big advocate of always having your own stuff because you just got rights to it. No one can take it away. And then there are some companies that allow you within their repertoire of offerings, you have multiple options as far as designs. So there's that as a matter of customization. But I'm always a big advocate of having your own. And then on the flip side, I'm going to say because I feel like websites, especially for real estate, people do want to see what you've got going on, your properties, but there are also all these other resources for looking at homes and things. So I feel like it's not the end of the world not to have the most top of the line and customized website. I think if anything, people, it's about, are they in love with the property? Do they like you? And then if there's a match there, regardless of what kind of website you have, it just doesn't matter. And that it's not the end of the world there.
Right. What I did was, because I'm still shopping for like the best website that I want to do. So what I did for now, I'm not saying I'm savvy, but I'm learning. And what I did was I went through Wix, right? The free one.
Yep.
I did it all myself. Okay. What I did was I even made my own landing pages. What I did was like, for example, you're looking for single family homes in Vallejo, hot market, click here and I'll put you on a weekly list. So I have form pop-ups and everything where I lead capture.
So you can do landing pages through Wix?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's free. It's all free.
I've used ClickFunnels for that.
ClickFunnels good. Yeah. Okay. So I made my own landing pages for stuff like that, and I do Facebook ads with them, and I get a lot of clicks, man. A lot of people. So I do that for myself, but I don't have IDX though. So that's why I'm still shopping around for a good website. I know the Property Miner, there's other ones, but I'm still looking around before I do it. Before I spend the big money monthly.
Okay.
Yeah.
The company that did my website is called T324, and they're out of Albany. So give them check them out. They do completely customized websites, great designs. They don't do IDX either.
Oh, they don't.
They don't. And there's various reasons why, but I'm not a huge fan of having IDX on the real estate agent's website.
Zillow.
Zillow, Redfin,
People tell me.
Realtor.com. Exactly.
They might search once, but they're not going to keep using your site. I mean, that's my opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so why even have IDX on there? I would actually take that manpower of what it takes to design IDX and that page and get it all coordinated into something else.
Right.
That's my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. Social networks to advertise to clients. Italina, we'll go with you because I know you specialize in LinkedIn.
Sure. So as far as paid advertising,
we can talk about paid and free. I know you're a fan of free, which is I'm a fan of free. I'll do some Facebook ads, but I like to keep it very narrow and keep the cost down though.
Right. So definitely it's super, super targeted. I think people sometimes don't realize just because it says that your ad is only going to reach a small number of people, that's good. That's what you want. You want this specific target market. So yes, those ads are great. I think boosting is nice if you have a listing compared to just using it for branding or marketing yourself. So I think you want to limit your boosting to if you have a listing. Other forms of paid advertising, don't do Yelp.
Yeah, they call me every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah, I avoid all their calls. No, now what you said is very interesting about Facebook ads, and when you boost it to have a listing, that's literally how I went from about 600-700 followers to now I have about 4,700.
Wow.
Is
awesome.
literally by boosting property, like my rental. So, and I would create a photo, and I'm literally going to tell people how to do it right now.
Okay.
You create a photo album. You don't create a carousel. You don't create videos. When people see it on their mobile device, they like to swipe and look at photos, right? But the problem with, now you can do that with a carousel, but the problem is it's one photo at a time. With a photo album, they're going to see 4 photos plus a plus button. So you want to make sure your very first photos are nice. That gives people a good idea on the property itself, and if it intrigues them, they're going to click on the plus.
So it's a post. It's a post, and but it's a photo album.
Correct.
Post. Okay.
Yep. So you go to upload photo or video,
right,
and then you click on photo album.
Okay.
And then upload. You can only boost about 15 photos, so all you need is 15 photos. So upload 15 photos. Make your best 4 the very first 4.
Oh, the sequence.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And so sometimes that's not always the front of the house, right? You may want to put that toward the end. So you want to take the best 4 photos you have, make them the very first 4 in order, because when you boost it, Facebook is going to use those first 4 photos.
That's your rentals you're talking about.
Yeah, and you can do like anything,
Yeah,
listings
for your
too. Yeah.
listings.
Okay.
And then rentals, you can target toward renters. If you have a listing, you target toward home buyers.
Right.
You know,
Gotcha.
or you can even target to home sellers to show, even though they may not buy that property, but they may say, oh, look at Eddie. He's advertising properties on Facebook. He's doing something that most agents don't do.
Right.
Now you reverse engineer, and instead of targeting buyers, you're targeting sellers.
Correct.
So it's a little bit different in a few ways you could do it. But in every single property, I spent $20 on boosting. That's it.
$20. I put $7 a day. What is that? Or $5? I forgot. $35.
I'll boost it for a 1 day
That's what I do.
period. So
Okay.
$20 in 1 day. That's it. And boosting it, people, after a little while, people start to realize, oh, you have listings. And if I don't have a property, I'll go around to other people here in my
not here in
office and
office.
say, hey,
Well,
do you
we
have a
just
listing?
got-
I'll boost it.
There you go.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
don't mind.
And so I'll boost properties from our office and get it out there. And pretty soon people on Facebook are saying, hey, this guy has a lot of listings.
Gotcha.
And we want to talk to this guy. And that's where you can then use that attention, create a podcast, blog,
Right.
other stuff to provide those people more information. Now, obviously, the key is when people are responding and commenting and liking, you want to jump in on those conversations. If you just ignore
You
people,
need to engage.
exactly. If you don't engage with them,
Engage is just
yeah, they'll drop you and they'll like, oh, this guy never responds,
yeah.
and they just start ignoring you.
Right.
Yeah, but that's literally how I built that following.
That's huge. That's
Yeah.
good advice.
And then, of course, it took several years. It's not, over a 1 or 2 year
Right.
period. I started my Facebook page in 2011, and probably around 2014 is when I started boosting. So really about 3 years now, but it
off,
works.
though. Pay
Yeah,
off.
and it's
All that
$20
time.
per listing.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, that's cheap, man.
I spend 20 if I do an open house and get color flyers, sometimes that's $20-$30.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about some myths of real estate here. Myth number 1, and this is always funny. Typical commission is 6%.
Okay.
Okay. Is a typical commission that a seller pays 6%
Nowadays,
nowadays?
you look on the MLS, CSO is 5, 2.5.
2.5.
That's like 80% of the time. I rarely see 3. That's my experience. I don't know about you guys, but
Okay.
it's tough to see 6 now, 3.
Yeah.
That's just the norm.
Now, as a buyer agent, if you see 2.5 versus a 3% listing,
I still show it.
you still show it.
Another question coming. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. So
No, I
the
don't
question
avoid
was,
it
do you
for my
place
client.
emphasis on the 3%?
No, I'm worried. I want to get paid, but I'm worried about my client to make he gets the best house. He or she gets the best house. Period. I don't
Okay.
do that.
Now the next question is, in general, do you think buyer agents place more emphasis on the 3%?
I think
than
some do,
2.5?
but that's me. That's just me. I think some do. Like if I see, maybe they see it too. They go, "No, I'm not going to show it," but I won't do that. I'm just hope. You guys want it's normal, but it happens. A myth. I say there's somebody's out there like that though. I believe there is.
Okay. Now you mentioned you do some listings,
Mm-hmm.
and do you automatically go for 5% or do you try to negotiate for 6%? Because a lot of people don't know that commissions are fully negotiable.
I always say that to them.
Yeah. So do you try to go negotiate a 6% commission?
Yes, I do. What I do is, one thing I learned: don't walk away from that presentation when you're in competition with 2 other 3 realtors and say it's negotiable. Period, and don't give a number. They're gonna go with somebody else. They want to hear now. So what I do, just some examples, because I know staging's big now. I might offer to pay for the staging or pay half at 6 or 5.5. That's working for me. And what I do is I do a 30-day guarantee. If you don't like what I'm doing, you can cancel anytime. I've never had anybody cancel.
Yeah.
That works for me too.
Okay, Italina, how can an agent set themselves apart in order to negotiate for a 6% commission?
I think Eddie just said one, the value add, right? So one value add that you mentioned was being able to pay for the staging. To me, what that comes down to is, are you invested? You're showing that you're invested in your
right.
client. So if you're willing to pay for beautiful marketing material, colored, glossy paper. You're willing to pay for ads. You're showing that you are invested. You're treating it as if this is as if you're putting yourself in that client's shoes. So I think showing that you're invested is huge.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So another myth is that agents make a ton of money. They get all the commission,
Mercedes.
and and the brokerage pays for all their marketing expenses.
I haven't heard that one before, but go ahead. Okay, but
Yeah,
maybe.
there's a lot of people that think brokerages pay for their agents' marketing expenses. Now never, right? Now the brokerage will sometimes pay for their own marketing
They
expense.
give out leads or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly, but for the actual agent to market, Facebook, flyers, all those other tools. So, Eddie, let's talk about Genesis Real Estate.
Okay.
I know you mentioned they opened up about 5 years ago, and you have a Berkeley office now.
Yes.
What, as a company, sets Genesis Real Estate apart from other companies that you've worked with?
Well, I think it's for us. We've all came from different places. Well, actually, some of us work together at Prudential, but I think it's just the unity we all have. It's just like a certain bond. I know we're talking about personalities here, but we have a really good group there. But I think that out of a small group of maybe between 10 and 15 agents, I'm not saying we're on the cutting edge, like the best of the cutting edge, but what I'm saying is a lot of us we have experience. Even with the new agents, we teach them, of course, how to go after your sphere of influence, which is number one, but technology is really important now. Social networking. We teach them how integration, MailChimp, whatever it is, Facebook ads. We try to stay on top of everything, and we do a lot of, I think, which is good, is virtual, because not everybody can come to the office for the office meetings like you guys here. Sometimes you get a good turnout, sometimes you don't. But if you have that chance of being virtual, go to meeting, whatever, chat, whatever, we do that too. So no matter where we are in the Bay Area, not all of us live here, we can still do meetings and we can still do training. We do video training. I do trainings and Marco does on Saturday mornings, and we're all virtual. So we're kind of like even though we're separated, we're all in like a small one-knit group. And we're all like, I can't explain, like moving together. We have a mission statement. I don't have the mission statement in front of me, but it's just some bond.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, it's a vibe. There you go.
Yeah.
That's a go-to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, with the virtual videos, do you have it on a company platform, or
we have a portal we go through some training, and then we do our own too, and we record everything and we present to agents, even new agents coming in. We train them that way, and we also have some things we go through with them too, goals that we go with them. So kind of holding their hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Italina, do you work mainly with agents individually or brokerages?
So I can work with both, and I have worked with both. I would say the bulk of the business has been with individual agents. Every once in a while, I'll meet a broker who says, I need you to help my entire office. And but I would say the bulk of it is individual agents and lenders paying for their own marketing services.
Okay, so that's one thing we didn't get into the podcast last time is how do your services look a little bit differently when you're working with a brokerage and their agents?
Okay, great. Yeah, so for example, I went to a real estate conference out in Vegas, and a broker who was from a whole other, people flew in from several different states. I happened to meet a broker out in the hallway, and what he ended up paying for is, one, I was a part of their team meetings. They're either weekly or biweekly meetings, and they Skype me in or whatever me in, and I'd be looking at the entire room and giving them their social media advice for the week, right? Their task and everything. So basically coaching, group coaching for his brokerage. And then the other thing that we did for them was email newsletters. And what we did to make their newsletter be a little different is we highlighted the top agents or the agent of the week or the agent of the month. So highlighting the individual agents and their newsletter within the office. Right. So we did their newsletter and group coaching. I think we did revamp their social media pages. So they already had a Facebook business page, but it just was not like really marketing them. It was just something that they clearly just slapped up there. Mm-hmm. So we made sure and conveyed the kind of information a consumer would want to see when looking and shopping around for brokerages and who they want to work with, as well as including SEO and hashtags.
Okay, great. So Eddie, going back to the virtual training, one thing that I would love to see is companies like brokerages, because almost every brokerage does a weekly meeting. I would love to see them do kind of what you guys are doing, more online videos that they can have their agents access.
Yes, that's what we do.
But what I would love to see is a brokerage do Facebook Live.
We do that too.
You do Facebook
Yep.
Live
But
training?
we only invite, of course, the group and people in office, not the public.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm thinking for the public though.
Oh, that's a good
To
idea.
where
too.
the public
Depending
can-
what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Depending what you're talking
and that's where I'm. And so where the public can see exactly what a brokerage is doing to educate and train
That's true.
their
Good
agents.
point.
And
That
I
might
think
be good for promoting the office as well
That's
as
a good idea.
recruiting.
in recruiting, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good point.
So if you guys try that, let me know.
Okay.
You guys do it.
Okay, so a third myth I want to talk about is all agents are the same. Now, a lot of people think we all make a 3% or 6% commission. Any agent can list your property on the MLS. You can look at any properties. You just need an agent to write an offer for you. So what sets you and a good agent apart from the rest of the pack?
I'll go first. Okay. This is some little things. Okay. For example, you put an MLS EBRD, right? Why not put it? I know it's kind of tedious. Put it in Metro, put it in Barry's, put it in the Matrix, put it in like 3-4 MLSs, and also load it manually on some of these other sites like Zillow. Okay, those are just little things. Other agents don't do that.
Now, are you with EBRD MLS or are
I'm
you
with
with
the Contra Costa.
Okay, Contra
Yeah,
Costa.
that's what I mean. I mean that the Paragon, whatever.
Okay.
But I like to enter my listings in all of them. You got to go back and make sure you change all of them too. So that helps too. You might get a buyer from the peninsula, from different areas, right? That's why I like that. Little things. I'd say the 30-day guarantee we talked about, kind of like for your property management too. I do that. That really helps. That helped me. Got 2 listings recently, by the way. 30-day guarantee. They can get right to cancel. And then the most important thing is communication. We all know that a lot of complaints from sellers, from surveys, show that people complain because the agent never calls them. Some people like text. You got to get to know your client. They like text. They like email. They like phone call. Everybody's different. Messenger, Facebook, I had clients talk to me that way. Everybody's different. Millennials are different sometimes, right? So it depends on the person. So communication is one of the biggest problems. So that's one of the things I stress, that I always keep them updated. Those are just some little things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Italina, you
Sure.
work with a lot of agents, so I'm sure
Yeah.
you can attest to the fact that they are not all the same.
Well, and for me too, I'm also a consumer, right? I'm not a real estate agent. I'm a consumer. I'm someone who will be experiencing the service of a realtor. And yes, I work with a lot of realtors, and honestly, there's some where obviously getting to know them and working with them, I get to see, oh, this person's clearly different from your average agent. But listen to what I just said, average agent. I do feel like there's a lot of agents. It's like, what? Why you? Like, you seem just like, I hear some things I hear over and over. Oh, experience. Oh, I feel like experience is standard. You better have experience, And I think a lot of times you don't know what sets a realtor apart until you have talked to them, sat down and talked to them for 20 minutes. So I think that the mistake agents are making is not conveying, whether it be online or through whatever marketing they're doing, they're not conveying what sets them apart. Saying you have experience is not going to cut it. Everyone says that. I have experience in great communication. Okay.
Great, show it to me.
It's like, what else?
Yeah,
Definitely.
good. So let's talk about some of the current trends that we're seeing right now. Sam pulled up, and for those that don't know, Sam is our producer here, and he pulled up some interesting stats here. The median single-family home in the this is Bay Area, right? Yeah. So for the Bay Area, it's $804,000, up 10% from a year ago. And the supply of houses obviously is low, demand's high, which is one of the reasons why it's being pushed up so high. So how, like in your experience, and Eddie, will go with you first, how has it affected your own clients that are trying to buy, within the communities that they live in here in the Bay Area?
I deal with it every day. I mean, I know one reason why a lot of the baby boomers aren't selling. A lot of the homes are sitting. They're not selling. The inventory is low. But I'd say that I mean, I'm dealing with this right now. I have buyers that work San Francisco. They're in $400,000 range. What can you get for 400,000 in San Pablo, Richmond? Yeah, you can get okay, house, but there's not that many, man. And we're gonna have to go to Pittsburgh for one a good example. Get a nice house, man, for 400,000 in Pittsburgh. I was showing there yesterday. So that's one example. Have another one that's in a low $300,000 range, and it's a little bit tougher. You got VA. What can you get in Richmond for 300? You can get something, but it's got to be termite cleared. That's the challenge I'm having. So there's different things. It depends on their qualification, and then of course location. They're concerned about schools. How far is the commute? If you go to Vallejo, you got to pay two bridges, right?
Yep.
San Francisco, two bridges. So that's something they got to contemplate. So it's tough, man. It's really challenging for them and us.
Yeah, the commute alone.
Yeah.
If you're looking at $5 or $6 on one bridge, and another $5 on the Kirknis bridge, $10 a day.
Yeah, where are you gonna go? Maybe
plus
Manteca,
gas.
or you're gonna go further, man. If you want to pay, a lower amount, that's the challenge. But Vallejo's hot market though, number one a couple months ago, I think, in the country, and a lot of buying and selling. So it's quite a good market over there. And the prices are still kind of affordable over there.
Okay.
So.
Italina?
What was the question again?
So basically how, like, supply right now is extremely low. Okay. Demand's really high. The median price is $804,000. Yeah. And we'll go into a marketing. Let's go at it from a marketing point of view, because that's what you specialize in. Is an agent in this business, knowing how tough it is to sell property to their clients for them to buy here in the Bay Area. What can they do marketing wise to set themselves apart to maybe help give their own client an advantage?
Okay, well, I mean, just to kind of back things up, one marketing opportunity that I saw was showing that this is proof real estate prices are going up and up and up. When you thought however many years ago it was expensive, well, look at it now. And so maybe that can be an incentive. Okay, move now before this happens again. Right. So maybe as a marketing opportunity to get people to take action.
Right.
Okay. Now, I would think it's also good. Now, Eddie, you were saying that you were showing properties in Pittsburgh, and people are going to have to start moving out to areas like Pittsburgh, right? Or Vallejo.
Vallejo's still affordable.
Now, there's a lot of people that still want to stay close to the city, still want to stay in.
That's the challenge.
And that's the challenge, right? And so, how do you educate people to at least consider different areas?
Well, what I do is I send them properties from different areas. I know you can do separate emails. Say, hey, this is Salariano to Hayward. Hey, this is Vallejo to Fairfield. Hey, this is Brentwood farther out over here. This is your price ranges, because you can't afford a house. I'm just saying numbers wise in this area. It's too high, and they have to contemplate and think about that, and then eventually they will. How far they're willing to go. You have to educate them, show them the listings. Better to sit down with them is the best way if you can, and go over it in person, not just by email.
Okay.
I think, and the other piece, as far as touching them at the heart of it, we're talking about owning, especially a first-time home buyer. Yeah. Okay, I know ideally you want to live here, but at least this will allow you to at least get into a house and have that home ownership, right? Because that's what it's about for a first-time home buyer, especially having that home ownership for the first time.
Yeah, just a demand here in the Bay Area, it's crazy.
And the rents.
And the rents. Yeah, rents is a perfect example. Ooh. I remember when I first moved out to this area, I moved to Pinole in 2005. I rented out a 2-bedroom upstairs apartment, and it was a good size. It was maybe 850 square feet. It was a good size. And I paid $850 a month for it. Now that same apartment, you would rent it for maybe $1,900, maybe $2,000. Wow. It's crazy, just over really a 12-year period. Now, a lot of that has to deal with the job market here in the Bay Area, the tech, Silicon Valley, and then if you go into Silicon Valley, there's houses for rent for $7-8 a month. Now, part of that is also because companies like Google, Facebook, they will provide a housing stipend to a lot of their workers to avoid them commuting so far.
Right.
And so when you're getting paid a salary of let's say 80 grand a year, but on top of it, you have a $2,000 a month stipend for housing that you can use on local housing. Now all of a sudden you've got $2,000 a month
More realistic. Gotcha.
toward housing payments.
That's good.
Now not sellers, but landlords are saying, well, okay, will you raise the prices because you can afford more now.
Get it.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest problems with pushing. And it's not just Facebook and Google. There's like thousands of startup companies, and when all of them are trying to compete for talent, they're offering a lot of these different benefits. So yeah, it's really interesting to dive deep into. There's a ton of problems that's
Has that hit
causing.
your market yet here yet? No.
No, that specifically has not hit this market here. Yeah, that's mainly Silicon Valley.
Okay.
Yeah. Out here, I think it's just supply and demand. There's just not enough rental housing for all the people that want to move in. People want to be close to the city. People don't want to move to Vallejo or Pittsburgh, Antioch, or even Brentwood or Oakley. Or Discovery Bay. Yeah, it's far, but if you're able to also make a living out there, then it's not so bad.
Right. If you can. Right.
Yeah, if you can. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our time for today. Why don't you quickly each state, and we'll start with Eddie, state your company and best contact number for you in case anyone wants to reach out to you.
Sure. Eddie Santos, Genesis Real Estate. My cell phone number is 510-813-1132.
And Italina,
Yeah,
the
my
online
name is-
presence expert.
My name's Italina, online branding and marketing firm, taking care of social media and email newsletters for realtors and lenders. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, and it's just at Italina K, and then my first name on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and I'm 510-712-1918. My number's also in my LinkedIn profile, right in the heading.
Awesome.
Nice.
And thank you too for coming out.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
That was great.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you to our producer, Sam Lubman, and thank you to our guests, Eddie and Italina. Please go show them some love. Their web pages are linked up in the description. Please like, comment, and share this podcast, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. I really, really want to thank all of you for listening. It means the world to me, and I hope today's episode provides you value in your day-to-day life. I created this podcast to help showcase the many great people that live in this world and help share some knowledge that I've learned along the way in life. Again, thank you for listening. Check out our sponsors, and I'll catch you on the next episode.